What is up, everybody? This is Recap Rewind. I'm JLAG and I'm here with
NBEA.
And this episode is recapping and reviewing American Crime Story, The Assassination of Gianni Versace, Season 2. And we're recapping the first episode, episode 1, called The Man Who Would Be Vogue.
Right. And super excited for the series.
Yeah, super excited.
So what we're going to do for this episode, guys, is we're just going to cover off our recap roundups. So our best moments, our best lines, our MVPs, our LVPs. And then moving forward with the other episodes, we're hoping to get into a greater detail later on.
More of like a review.
But let's do like an intro to this new season.
Yeah.
Obviously, we love Ryan Murphy. We watched literally everything from him.
Yeah.
So we were super excited about this series. It's gorgeous. It's set in Miami. It's about Gianni Versace.
It's like your dream come true.
Literally.
Like this is all you ever
everywhere.
wanted. Yeah.
Just off the top, what did you think? Like, good or bad? Were you excited? Were you happy with it?
I was super excited. So here's the thing. I kind of and this is why this podcast is going to come a little bit late. It came out of nowhere. I didn't even realize that it was being released this quickly. So that's why we're jumping on this now. But yeah, we've been talking about it as soon as we found out about this Versace one being the second season. And yeah, it looks amazing. It looks beautiful. I love that they're bringing it back because it's it happens in the 90s, the late 90s, right? So I just love the feel and the look of it so far.
Yeah.
And he executes it really, really well.
Yeah, perfect. He's perfect.
So
I'm excited for what they're going to do with it. I wasn't like, oh my God, 10 out of 10, amazing episode.
Right.
The only thing I will say was the music.
Yeah.
Really threw me off. That classical, Italian music. I get it. He's Italian, whatever. It was almost it was too much. It was a little overboard.
I completely agree with you. I think in the beginning they show it in the opening sequence
with the house.
So he's getting ready. He's waking up in the morning.
Totally, I loved it.
I was beautiful.
Yeah.
But then it was carried on throughout the rest.
I'm like, oh,
and
God.
I was ooh, the entire episode, and I was like, okay, this is too much.
You know what? I watched it for the second time actually, and the second time around, I couldn't even hear what they were saying.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like,
loud.
What is Ricky Martin saying right now? He's talking, and it sounds really important. The guy just died, and I can't hear what he's saying because and I guess that's the idea in the soundscape. It's almost deafening because it's making you just
because the opera is deafening.
Yeah, because it's trying to make you just feel some type of way. It's it doesn't matter what he's saying in that moment, obviously, but I don't care about this music.
Ricky,
it's too much. So yeah, so let's talk. Since we're talking about Ricky, let's talk about all the characters first.
Right.
So we're introduced. The main cast includes Gianni Versace. I don't know who he's played by.
It's Edgar Ramirez.
Okay.
And he was in a couple of things. I feel like he was in The Girl on the Train.
Okay.
He was the therapist or whatever.
Okay. So we have...
He plays him amazing. He looks exactly like him.
Oh, okay.
With the hair and the beard and stuff.
Yeah, he looks
in
like
makeup,
Gianni Versace.
obviously. Yeah.
So Gianni Versace is the main character. And then we have his boyfriend, Antonio D'Amico, I guess, and he's played by Ricky Martin. And then we have Donatella Versace, who's played by none other than
Penelope Cruz.
And we have the murderer, Andrew Cunanan, who's played by Darren Criss.
Right.
And I also put down the Miami Beach Police because currently they're going to be a main character.
They're going to be in it. Yeah.
They're going to be the people who fuck shit up. So I wrote that down. So I wanted to kind of go through each one. Let's start with Gianni Versace. How did you think he played it out in this first episode?
I think he was good. I think the actor, apparently he gained weight for the role, just to kind of look more on point.
Okay.
So, I think he looks exactly like him. If you Google pictures of Versace, they look almost identical.
That's amazing.
So, yeah, no, I think he played it really well. Even just his mannerisms and you can feel. They say that he was a really warm person,
right.
Really charismatic, and you could see that, they really captured it.
And in the first like opening sequence, you see all of that, right? Like
Yeah.
he's talking to everybody.
Like even the slightest, like as his servants like serving him his like morning breakfast, like he's like thank you and like holds his
Yeah.
arm, like those
Yeah,
little touches.
yeah.
I'm like, wow, this guy was like
They
a
really made it.
legend.
They also really made him like feel real.
Yeah.
Like you know who Gianni Versace is.
Yeah.
Just
I
watching
wonder
this
if they're gonna
sequence.
explore more of that though. Like, are we gonna get to see more of his history?
So that's one of
before
the
he
things that
dies?
we did talk about offline, and you were kind of surprised that they showed the murder episode
right
1.
away. Yeah.
But then then I reminded you that in American Crime Story season 1 with O.J. Simpson, it starts off with the murder of Nicole.
I guess because it starts off so quickly, but the chase lasts like 2 episodes.
Yeah, that's true. That's
it
true.
felt like it was longer, but yeah.
Yeah. So I guess the runaround and like him trying to get away, Andrew Cunanan, is probably going to be a lot of the season.
And I think Ryan Murphy even said like the whole idea of this show, even
Like the
especially
theme
this
of the
is
season.
focusing on like the system and how the system reacts to a situation like this and an
Right.
investigation like this.
Right.
So I think it might be less about who Versace was and like more about like how they didn't catch Andrew
they
Cunanan and
done
like they
effed up.
failed.
Yeah,
So yeah.
Let's talk about Donatella.
Donatella.
What did you think of
She was
Penelope
good.
Cruz's portrayal
I
of
think
her?
she nailed it.
I think she's doing a phenomenal
Yeah.
job. I think that everyone says that Donatella has a very specific way she talks about, like she has a very specific accent. It's Italian, but also she has this like droning voice, and like that's how she talks, and she nailed it. I think like she's doing a really, really great job. And it was really emotional. Like when you first see her, you're like, oh shit, like shit's about to go down, and she's really emotional. So I thought that was.
I mean,
really
she
cool.
wasn't that emotional. She wasn't. She didn't even cry.
That's true.
She
that's
looks
true.
at I think Ricky Martin and she's like, don't
Get out
even
of
cry.
it. Yeah.
Like she's like, put your tear like so it's not time
Don't
to cry
give me
right
your
now.
tears
So I was
or
like,
whatever.
well, damn. Like, yeah, obviously she's emotional, but like I don't think she's that person to like show it.
She's
to,
pretty
right?
like they're showing
she's
her as like pretty
yeah,
boss.
Yeah.
And we got the murderer, Andrew Cunanan.
Yeah.
How did you feel like he portrayed it, and what do you think
Honestly,
of the character so
he
far?
looks exactly like the real guy.
That's really eerie.
And apparently the real guy, not apparently he was half Filipino.
Okay.
So I guess Darren Criss is also half Filipino,
Which I didn't know.
Yeah, we didn't know. So it's interesting how they really
Properly cast.
They honored that, right? Like
yeah,
that, you know.
yeah. They didn't like choose like a black person. To,
I
like,
think
play
he's
a white
playing
person.
it on point so far. Like so far, he's playing it, but let's see, right?
Yeah.
Let's see how he's gonna.
Yeah. I thought that he's really like in the few moments that we've like been introduced by all these characters. I think he's really slowly tapping into the psychosis of this basically psychopath, right? Like he's a serial killer, which we find out. I didn't even know that. Like I didn't realize that he was a serial killer.
Yeah.
Like Gianni Versace wasn't his first murder.
Yeah.
So that was really interesting.
What do you think about all the little flashbacks that cut to his kind of like rise, sort of?
I thought they were necessary.
Yeah, for sure.
I think it's really cool to see that side of it because, like, there's all these documentaries and I guess I'm sure books too about the murder and the assassination. So understanding it and seeing that side of it, I'm sure they investigated in these documentaries. So I wanted to see where he came from, what his like mindset was, and because it's a drama, you get to see a little bit more of like those like little quirks that they get to add in. So like to show that he's he's a psychopath and he's like obsessed and you know like he knows all these things about Versace, but he lies to everybody, and you know it's really interesting to see somebody like that like kind of go through it all. Like he's talking to his friend who's gay and he's gay, and then he's talking to his sister and he's straight, and it's like
I was so confused at first. I was
all
like,
these
wait,
little
what?
things are
I'm
very-
like, oh, they don't know. Like,
yeah. And he even like talks like they put all these lines in to show that he's like talking shit about gay people.
Yeah.
Because he's like they're so weird, but like
Yeah.
whatever, and like he's like pretending to not know Versace in the
Yeah.
first place. Like it was very, very interesting the way they played that all out.
because they almost did it in a way where like he was telling one person, oh, I got asked out by Versace, like he approached me,
Right.
and I'm like, wait, you're lying, and then I'm like, oh wait, he's a psychopath. Okay, I got
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah.
Like he's lying.
So that's the thing that I thought was really, really cool, the way they kind of unfolded his character, because the first thing you see is him kind of obsessing over Versace at the club.
yeah.
And then you see him like all split off into like, I met Versace last night and this is what happened, and like he's telling one story and then he's telling another story, and then you're like, but we know the tea, like you're just crazy. So,
and as much as like we know about this story, like I knew the story of Versace
Right.
when I had gone to Florida with my family. Like we used to always take those tours and they used to always talk about this moment.
Right.
But in terms of the details, like I didn't really know the details.
Yeah.
And I totally forgot that he was a serial killer. I forgot that he killed like five people
I
before
didn't know
that.
Yeah, I didn't know
so
that
I'm
at
like,
all.
oh, true, okay. And like I didn't know that he was like a legit psychopath. Like I thought he just went and like shot him.
Right.
But he's legit a psycho.
Yeah.
So we are still learning as it's going on too, right?
And I think that was kind of similar with season 1 of OJ too. I knew of the story, but we were so young when it happened that I didn't know all these like really small details, like that this guy was racist and this one was like all these little small things that happened too. So
it's funny though, because when I was talking to my mom about it, she's like, didn't he get away? Like, didn't they catch him or like, and then he like got away or something?
Right.
She's like, I remember him getting caught. And I was like, what do you mean? He never got caught though. She goes, yeah. She's like, I think they caught him. And I was like, was it maybe that scene that they catch the wrong guy?
Oh,
remember in the episode when they I'm like, oh, maybe that was what she meant. Like she had heard that on the news. Yeah. Right. I don't know. But yeah.
Interesting. That's really cool.
Yeah.
It's cool that like it happened, I mean, relatively recently, that we can actually access people who like really were a part of that
and
world.
my 2 cousins were actually in South Beach like at the time when this happened.
Wow.
And not South Beach, but they were just kind of north of it, but they heard it on the news,
and it was everywhere.
And guys, like he was like on the loose at this point, like he was like a manhunt. They were like, because they know people have like summer homes, right? They're like, keep your doors closed, like make sure like everything is like locked up, because like he might be lurking in one of these empty like houses, condos, houseboats, and I think he wasn't a houseboat, right? So yeah, so
interesting.
Crazy.
So yeah, that's the thing. Like, because I don't know too much of the history, it's gonna be cool to see how this season unfolds and how like which direction they take it. Do you think that they're gonna get to the trial aspect of it as well?
There's no trial. He was dead.
Oh, right.
So I don't think there is, right? I think this is about the manhunt.
Got it.
I don't think they even make it to the trial.
And I guess the reason why I'm asking is because they choose a lot of key characters, like the woman at the pawn shop who like reported him.
Can we just talk about that real quick? Because I want to ask you, why did she say, I reported this, I handed this in? What did he give her that like she was sketched out by him?
So here's the thing. I think that he was already wanted, right?
At that point
in time. So apparently, I mean, according to what she says, he pawned this gold coin off.
Okay.
She gave the money. She got the ID and all that stuff.
But what was the gold coin? Like, was it like a Versace coin or something?
I don't know what it was. I guess it's something that he probably stole to like get money.
Yeah,
And as soon as it happened, she reported him because she was like, this is Andrew Cunanan. And she was like, I did everything right. I sent it to the police and you guys did nothing. And she was like, that was 7 days or like 4 days before Versace got killed. So that was an interesting aspect to it too.
They have to show that, right?
All these little holes.
Show the loopholes.
And I mean, that's the thing. That's why I want to know, because that actress, she's a well-known actress. Like I've seen her in other things. I mean, now she's probably not like the most famous, but I was wondering if like we were going to see her again.
I'm sure we are. I think in the promos, it looked like she was in it.
Right. So that's what I mean. Like, and that's why I was asking, like, if it didn't go to trial, how are they going to do it? It's just going to be like maybe interrogation rooms.
Yeah.
Like, how are they going to reintroduce these characters? And even the guy, when they bust down the door looking for him at the very end, and they're like, do you know who this guy is? That guy.
Yeah.
He was in American Horror Story Hotel. And he's also in New Girl. His name is Schmidt. He's like one of the main characters. Okay. So I'm like, they're not just choosing. Right. They're not just choosing random people. They're actually using important people. They might have like an interrogation situation.
Yeah. I mean, look, when there's still a manhunt going on, they can still do interrogations, right? Like there's still an open investigation to find this guy.
And I just want to know like what they're going to be doing.
Where they fall into.
Like how they're going to show it. So there's that. Let's talk about Antonio D'Amico. Ricky Martin.
I mean, he was good, right?
His
acting was okay.
I feel like this is like his first role. Acting role, I guess, like technically. Maybe. I think he was on Glee for like a hot second. He was like the Spanish teacher, but I mean,
I think he played it fine.
Yeah, he was like crying and stuff. Like he played
like that scene with him and the investigator was a really big scene where the investigator was like, "What? You're his boyfriend for 13 years?
Are you guys like open? Like asking all these like
clearly
really intrusive
it just shows you everything that was going on.
Yeah.
At that time. And
the fact that they didn't know what,
they do not understand each other. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
and they don't want to understand.
They don't want to
They're just like, this world is weird.
Yeah.
Like, even like at one point in time when I think they were talking about like, oh, the Versace murder just happened, and these police investigators are like walking down these stairs, and they're like, oh, you mean the like sports player? And then he's like the jeans guy.
The jeans guy.
Like that's what he was known for.
Yeah.
Like we know Versace and the name and the brand now as this like high end, high class, like beautiful fashion, whatever.
And like that cuts to the FBI. So like that was the FBI who had an open investigation on Andrew Cunanan, and they still couldn't find him. Right.
So his name is Agent Evans. He's the one that's in like the Miami, Florida district.
Okay.
And he was the one that was on a manhunt for Andrew Cunanan before this all happened.
Because Andrew was on the list for like FBI's most wanted.
Yeah.
Like he was like legit like.
So there's a scene that shows him like open up his trunk, and it shows all these wanted signs, and he was like, yeah, he's been wanted in like 4 different states for murdering 4 other people. And the local investigators are like, well, how many of these flyers have gone locally? And he just doesn't speak because he didn't freaking post them anywhere.
Is that what it meant?
Yeah,
like he didn't post
he didn't do it.
Why?
So, and that's the thing. Like, it's showing all these freaking loopholes, like all these like things that they really, really fucked up on. And it's funny because that scene that we were just talking about with the woman who said like she reported this to the police like three days before he got shot and stuff. Like it cuts straight to Donatella Versace, and it just reminds you that like if they really were on the ball with this, she wouldn't be having to deal with this bullshit right now. Like he would still be alive. Like how did you guys fuck this up? Like you guys are so dumb. How did you not like realize that this could have happened?
Well, they don't know he's gonna go kill Versace.
What?
But
Come
like
on,
at the same time, there's a killer on the loose right now, killing people. So like that's.
So to your point that you were saying that this is going to be focusing on like the fact that the investigators may not have taken this seriously because he was killing gay men, or like it was not really like a focus. It will. I hope it will be like a real underscore and a real underline.
I think they have to, right? I think they have to.
It's interesting that this is happening and we're watching this now because locally in Toronto, where we're from, something similar is happening in our community, in our LGBT community, where there's 2 murders actually or 2 people that actually went missing in the LGBT community, and now they're realizing that there was someone who killed both of them, and the police have not really put those 2 things together until just recently. So it's interesting to see this very direct parallel to something that's happening 2017 to this day in a major city. And you know, this whole idea of whether or not it's purposeful or not, like the ignorance of these smaller minority communities not being taken seriously enough, and even the people that went missing were people of like a minority group as well, immigrant minorities. So this whole idea that, you know, police investigators might not take certain situations as seriously as others. It's just the real
and
facts.
The hard thing is, you know, how do you really prove that? Like, how do you prove that that's the reason why they didn't take it seriously?
It's perspective, right? Like, you can't really nail that.
All you can really show is, look, there was major loopholes that were missed in this investigation.
Exactly.
Let's not, like, let's look at
look at everything and why did this go wrong?
Exactly.
Like, real talk.
Yeah.
So I guess that pretty much covers the whole Miami Beach Police character group.
What do you think about the girl from Orange Is the New Black, Daya?
I think that
I was
happy to see
her to be like cool, and then she was like,
she's like,
you're
racist.
his boyfriend.
Yeah, so
like, what the hell, girl?
I know. I thought that she was cool too, because I was like,
maybe she will be like later on.
But then like, yeah, it turns out that
maybe she'll come through.
Yeah, I hope so, because she does like kind of give Ricky Martin's character like side eye when she was like, "Oh, you're so gross. Like, you guys are gay." So yeah, I think that's basically the entire, like, that's all we really, really want to go into for the first episode. Let's do a quick recap roundup.
Recap roundups.
Best moment. So my best moment, and I feel so bad for saying this, but my best moment was obviously the part where he gets shot, like on his steps, because I think that's just the most like iconic moment. As much as it's like so bad to say that.
Yeah.
The way it was shot, though, I just have to throw it out to that. I didn't really like the way it was cut. Like, he goes up to him, he like points a gun, and then Versace's like, no, like
He's
really
like,
quick.
please don't.
He's like,
Yeah.
"Boop." And then like he gets shot, and I was
They
like,
get
what?
shot and then, like the bird
It was just
flies.
like, like the cut was kind of awkward to me.
Yeah.
But obviously, like that's the moment, right?
Right.
That's the moment that starts everything. So.
And that's why it's not my best moment in particular. I'm glad that you said that it was yours, because we obviously do have to talk about it. It is the instigator for the entire situation. So obviously, yeah, we need to say that this was a key moment in this situation. And we do have to remember that visually, it is really interesting. He shot a dove at the same time as killing Versace.
Yeah.
So they show that again.
Yeah.
And it's a very grim and like really weird thing to see. Like it's very eerie that it even
eerie,
happened. So
yeah.
like seeing it again is like, wow.
It's just like fate almost. Like his soul is like gone.
Yeah.
Another thing too is like he shot this guy on the front steps on South Beach, Miami.
middle
like
of the
was
day.
there nobody like around? Like he
Yeah.
was mourning still, but I'm like, was there nobody around that stopped this guy or like?
No.
I don't understand. You know.
South Beach life, I guess. Everybody's just like minding their own business.
Everyone's like murked. Like yeah, I don't know.
Everyone's hungover, so I don't know. My best moment was the entire opening sequence. Not necessarily including the murder.
The house.
Just the whole
House
opening
Hunters
sequence.
sequence.
Yeah, House Hunters sequence. Like being introduced to the show and the season that way, I was blown away. The house itself, first of all.
Like by the way, when I watched it was like -20 here, so I was like, yes.
Yeah, you're like, this
I'm
is
like hot vibes.
warming me up a little bit. Yeah, so like just seeing it, I was like, whoa, this is so beautiful. And like, yeah, in that particular moment, the opera music works so well.
Yeah.
And like, you know, seeing
because
him,
it's like the intro too, right? Like it's
and
pulling
he's,
you
like,
in.
introducing the character and stuff like that. So that was my best moment.
WTF moment.
My WTF moment is it's somewhere in the middle when after Versace gets shot and Andrew is running around like as a fugitive or whatever, and he steps out of his hotel room and he sees everybody reacting to the murder. So someone, I guess it's on in a bar downstairs.
It wasn't even his hotel room. Like that's not the thing. He was just sneaking in and out of hotels. He got changed. Remember, he washed his face.
Right.
Wow, like people didn't even book him.
Oh, that wasn't even his.
No, he like literally went to the bathroom, cleaned himself, and then like walked
came
back out.
I see. So yeah, so he walks into this like lounge area in that hotel room, I guess, or that hotel, and he sees a woman reacting to the murder that he literally just committed, and she doesn't cry, but she's in shock, and she holds her hand to her mouth, like gasping, and it's this really beautiful shot of this like slow zoom of him behind her and seeing her do that, and then him mimicking her and holding his hand to his mouth, and it just goes to show like they're tapping into this idea that he was a full out psychopath, because we know that psychopaths don't have the capacity to understand real social cues. They don't know how to react to real sadness and anger and frustration. Like they're emotionless, basically. Like that's why they can kill people. And so him holding his hand to his mouth was very much like a talented Mr. Ripley, like creepy moment for me. And it really was like, oh God, they're really like delving into it. So that was my what WTF moment.
My WTF moment, I think, was all of his really like the flashbacks with him. I was just so disgusted at like how he was living his life, like the lies, the manipulation, and especially that moment where like he meets Versace for the first time. I'm like, okay, this guy's a creep. I'm like, Versace, like blow him off. And he doesn't. He each time like he talks, Versace's more like, oh, who's this guy? And he's like, and then in the end he like invites him to sit down beside him. I was just like, what is going on right now? Like this guy's a crazy person.
Insane.
Just like really, really shocking that like nobody booked him.
Yeah, it's true.
MVP.
Who's your MVP?
My MVP, I'm gonna say Donatella.
Okay, cool.
Because I think she's a boss ass bee.
Right.
In that moment where everyone is like so shocked and so emotional, I feel like she had to gather herself to be like, look, like my brother would want this right now. Like we have to keep his name going, his company going.
Yeah.
You know, as much as it was hard for her, even to make that decision between like going public with the company and not, like she was like, look, like, yes, he agreed to this, but he was alive when he agreed to this. Like, now that he's dead, like, it changes everything.
This is time for family.
It's time for family. Like, let's keep each other together. And so I think like I'm so excited to see more of her role, like, going forward.
Definitely. So she was also my MVP, but since you said her, I'm gonna go and do the opposite direction and say that Andrew Cunanan was my MVP in the worst way possible. And the reason why I'm saying it is because I think Darren Criss played it really
like
well.
The actor.
And also, this sequence shows how he executed the murder successfully and freaking ran off.
Question, do you think he knew he was gonna kill him that morning?
Yeah.
Like, he had that idea.
Premeditated. Yeah. He definitely like planned that out. Yeah, he had a gun with him. He was like ready to go. He knew when he was gonna come home.
Yeah, true.
So he definitely planned that shit out. I hate to say that MVP because it's like but you know what I mean.
LVP.
My LVP, I think, goes to all the cops. Yeah. At the moment, the cops
I wrote
were
down
like
specifically
useless.
FBI agent Evans because he didn't do anything.
Yeah.
Right. But yeah, it just goes to show, and I'm sure we'll see it as the season goes on, even worse and more, how many holes they like hit. But my LVP was also the agents, but other than that, I also said Antonio, who was played by Ricky Martin.
Why?
They portray him as someone who really is passive, and Donatella makes a really good point. She looks at him and she's like, all you had to do was protect my brother.
Okay, but how is he going to protect him? He's not his bodyguard.
Yeah, sure, but I guess she's like projecting this anger and frustration.
Like, what would have happened if he was beside him? He would have got shot too. Like,
yeah, maybe, but at the same time, like maybe he wouldn't have done it. But he just seemed to be like this hopeless ball of mush that really like fucked shit up.
At the end of the day, it was Versace who let this person into their lives. It wasn't Ricky Martin's character that did that. You have to be more aware of who you're letting into your circle, especially because you're Gianni Versace, you know?
True. And he does say, like, he says, you know, like he would like woo them. Like he was like,
you could tell he's like a very charismatic, magnetic like energy. And like, as much as Andrew Cunanan was so freaking weird, like he wasn't booking his weirdness. He was just more like infatuated by it.
And he was like, oh, you want to be a part of my circle? Like, come through.
Yeah. And I was just like confused. I was like, this guy is obviously crazy.
Yeah. But I guess, I mean, she does get pissed off or like Donatella gets pissed off at Antonio for divulging all this information to the police right away.
Yeah.
So she was like, yo, you fucked up too.
Yeah.
So that's why he's LVP.
The best line.
My best line is something that Versace says to Andrew after the opera. And he says, for me, family is everything. The first dress I made was for my sister Donatella. Maybe every dress I make is for her. And I just thought that was a really great line. I don't know if it's true, or maybe he said it in an interview later on, but hearing him say it was like, that's really cool. You know, like, because especially now that we know how things went down after he died and how she took over and really kind of carried the line through, it just goes to show that there was like this amazing connection with the family and like
between the two of them too.
Between
it
the
shows
two of them,
how close they were.
They were so synchronous, and you know, she made this a successful company even after he passed away. So that was my favorite line.
Yeah, I think my best line is that moment where she talks about family in front of everyone else. Yeah. Because I think for me, I don't know the dynamic. I don't know how close they were. Like, I don't know if she swooped in and like took over his name. Like, I don't know all that. Right. But hearing her say that in front of all those men, it's like, no, F you guys, F everyone. He was my brother. We are family. Like, this is what means the most to me.
Now the time is for family.
It sets that precedent of like, okay, they were like so close, you know? So you respect that. You appreciate that.
Like, she wasn't like the one who like booked an assassination on him.
Because that's what I mean. Like, you could think that almost, right? But no.
Yeah. So that's the entire episode. Before we get to the final end of it, what do you expect of the entire season? Like, what are you looking forward to seeing next?
I'm looking forward to seeing a bit more on Versace's history, but I don't think we're gonna get that.
Okay.
So
yeah, I feel like it's kind of like done now. Like, we've seen like a glimpse of his life. I think that the fact that his boyfriend Antonio, Ricky Martin, says, you know, all these like little secrets are gonna come out, maybe we might see some aspects of that, like the sexual aspects of it. I don't know how integral they were to the storyline like back then.
Do you think he's gonna be in every episode, Versace?
Probably not. But maybe, I don't know. We'll see. And I guess that's the thing. Like, we don't really know how they're gonna take this show because it's very different from like OJ, right? OJ was the main character in last season, but he was already caught and he was in jail.
Yeah.
This guy Andrew Cunanan is like running around rampant and he never gets caught. So I don't know if they're just gonna follow him the entire time and follow his history even more.
Probably both.
Like,
they will.
Would you want to
for
see
sure.
more of his history?
I mean, not really, but I'm probably gonna get it anyways.
You're not gonna have
it's
a
gonna
choice.
happen.
Yeah. I think I'm interested in seeing how Donatella handles everything because I wasn't really sure, and I'm sure a lot of us in the public eye don't know all these little things. Like, I didn't know that she decided not to go public because of the situation, and like, I'd like to see like how the business still remains successful even after he passed away. Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see how they'll do it. So it's super, super exciting. Episode
less
1.
Classical music. For sure.
Yeah. Let's say like less of that.
Yeah.
That's definitely one of the things that I don't want to hear in the next 10 episodes. I don't know how many episodes there are.
I think it's 10. Yeah.
So that's it, guys.
That's it.
If you like this review, let us know. Like, comment, subscribe, share, enjoy this. Like, join the conversation.
We're on iTunes.
Yes.
We're on YouTube.
Yep. And Spreaker and all these other crazy ones. Instagram if you want to check out our other shows that we review. So yeah, just let us know what you're saying.
@recap_rewind.
Yeah. That's it, guys. Bye.
Bye.